Hey, what's going on, everybody? I'm your host, John F. Thomas. Welcome to Real Review. We're going to be talking about Loki, episode 3. It's going to be a good show. Again, I'm your host, John F. Thomas. If you're just now tuning in, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button to John F. Thomas on YouTube or John F. Thomas on Facebook or JT Slim Cutter on Instagram or Twitter. I'm not on Twitter that much, but yeah, you can follow me. Other than that, we're going to go ahead and show this intro and then really dive into it. So I'm going to just go ahead and just get right into it. So we'll be right back.
It's the real review. It's the real review. It's the real review.
What's up? I'm your host again, John. I'm your host, John F. Thomas, and had a crazy night last night. A good night though. So we're going to be talking about Loki, episode 3. Now, for those who don't know, there's already 2 episodes of Loki. Of course, we're doing Loki episode 3, as I said. And this show, for those who don't know, it stars Tom Hiddleston as Loki, Owen Wilson as Agent Mobius, and a new addition, Sophia Di Martino as Sylvie. Well, we'll find out who she is. I don't want to say too much. Well, as a female Loki. Never mind, because this is a spoiler review. So if you haven't seen it, I'm going to spoil some things. So come back and we'll talk about this later, or you can just hear me later when I'm talking about this stuff. Also, I do have a podcast outside of the video that I'm showing here. So I do have a podcast. It's Real Review with John F. Thomas. Again, it's Real Review with John F. Thomas. You can find me on Apple, Google, Spotify, whatever else you listen to for your podcasting needs. All right, so let's get right into it. I'm going to go ahead and get into the recap, and then I'll give what my thoughts on the acting, story, and the budget and marketing. So when we last left off, Loki went into the portal that the female Loki opened up to try to escape, and she kind of like start messing up the timeline, all these different alternate timeline branches going out. So she jumped through the portal. Agent Mobius was trying to get Loki to stop, but he jumped through the portal to chase after because he still wanted to know what was going on. So we picks up here where she jumps through the portal. She pops up because I didn't know where she was going. She goes to the TVA headquarters. So she goes there and starts dispatching a lot of the people, and she's ruthless. Like, she is definitely more of a fighter than the Loki that we know. So they kind of makes it kind of seem like, like, is this Loki? You know, you're trying to figure out, like, is this really Loki? Because some people think it's Enchantress. I don't know. So she goes through knocking out all these guards, killing them, making them kind of, dissipate into ash and nothingness with her own weapons. And she's making her way to the elevator where the timekeepers should be, where it should take her to where the timekeepers are. That's her goal, to get to the timekeepers. So Loki shows up through the portal, and he's trying to figure out, like, okay, where did she go? I'm at TVA. Oh, crap. So he's going through. He sees the trail of bodies, follows that, finds her, and he's trying to talk to her like, hey, we can work together. We can take over the TV. And she's like, that's not what I'm trying to do. And he's like, okay, well, what are you doing? And so she doesn't want to hear. She just wants to fight him. And she just get out of here. She tries to attack him, tries to kill him. And he's like, I don't want to fight you. And he kind of sees, like, man, I can see why I'm kind of annoying, because I don't listen. Like, people try to talk to him, and, he sees all the annoying aspects of him as a Loki. And while they're fighting, next thing you know, Raynard, I think that's her name. I don't know if you know who I'm talking about. Feel free to let me know. But Judge Raynard, I guess that's her name. Please feel free, again, to correct me. But she pops up, and it's about to go down. And she just like, nah, this ain't about to happen. I'm about to tear somebody up. So she goes and she tries to fight the female Loki, and female Loki almost dies, because it's just like, and this is kind of weird to me, because it's just like, you're at the place, you're here. Why are you being so brash and kind of, because she was supposed to be so smart, right? Supposed to be really, really smart, and probably even smarter than the Loki that we know, like so many steps ahead of what's going on. But she does something that's kind of brash and like almost kind of dumb to me, I guess, in a sense, or maybe she didn't have a choice. I don't know. Maybe I have to just go back and rewatch. But I felt like that was just almost out of character for her in the sense of where it's just like, well, why are you just rushing basically to your death? In a sense, because I'm pretty sure Judge Rayner is a judge for a reason. Like, she's at the top of her game, probably for a reason. But anyway, that being said, almost dies, but Loki saves the day. He grabs the portal device, I guess, that she had, and takes it and takes them somewhere else. So they disappear before female Loki is disintegrated. So they show up at some other planet. It's like, I guess, slightly in the future ahead of us, maybe 2077. I don't know. But they show up there on this planet, and she's pissed off. Like, I was there. I was so close. What are you doing? You're messing everything up. And he's like, man, we can help each other. And she ain't trying to hear it. She ain't trying to get no help. She don't want no help from this dude. She wants to fight. And it's just like, man, she is very aggressive. So they are basically fighting and arguing and fighting. They can't trust one another. She's trying to get the device from him. He's not trying to get the device. Like, look, we're better off if we work together. She still ain't trying to listen. So finally, she begrudgingly kind of works with him. But, both of it, and this is interesting because both of them are mischievous, right? So you can't really trust a Loki in a sense, because it's like, can you really trust this Loki? Can you not? I don't know. I want to trust Loki, but can I really trust Loki? And I'm pretty sure Agent Mobius feels like, damn, I thought I can trust Loki. But, so that being that, it is what it is. So they are trying to figure out, I think the device is depowered. It doesn't have enough juice to get them out of there. And they're in an apocalyptic event, which was smart because he was just like, hey, look, I'm trying to help us out. Now, basically, the TVA can't find them. And, somebody, John said the theory is that the whole episode is in his mind. Maybe, but again, I don't want to think that Marvel is this smart. I mean, because there's been a lot of stuff that we've been saying about. Ooh, in WandaVision, this could happen. Oh, in Falcon and Winter Soldier, that could happen. But then they don't do that. They play it safe. So that's why I don't even want to get my hopes up too high, because there'll be a whole wasted episode if this is all in Loki's mind. Well, maybe not, unless Enchantress actually got in his mind. Because I think, yeah, Enchantress. So you might be onto something. Man, actually, you know what? John might be onto something. I'm gonna pop that back up. If it is in his mind, because while they were fighting, Enchantress tried to take over him. She tried to put her hands around him so she can enchant him. But I guess Loki was able to block it. And if that goes off of John's theory, or the theory that he heard that it's all in Loki's mind, he thinks he's blocked it, but he also doesn't really know how her powers work. So how can he block it if he doesn't know how her powers work? So that actually, I'll take that back, man. Yeah, that's some good input. So yeah, that leads right into like what she tried to take over him and enchant him. Supposedly that didn't work. But he was like, I'm a god of mischief. So whatever. And anyway, they're trying to find a power source of power that she tries to trick him out of giving her the device. It doesn't work because Loki's like, I'm not falling for that. And so they go up to this one lady's place, who is, I guess, is staying at home while everyone else is trying to get on a train to go to an arc. In the episode, they're in this planet, they're trying to go to the arc, which is kind of pointless because they never make it off the planet. Like, this planet is doomed. These people on this arc that are trying to fly up into space, they're going to die. So they're just like, okay, that's probably where we can get the power source from. How do we get there? So Loki is trying to get some information out of this woman. We can probably ask this woman how to get there. Female Loki, at this point, she said, just call me Sylvie, because she doesn't want to be called Loki. So Sylvie is just like, all right, I'm just gonna go up there and just take this information from this woman, or taking it. And Loki just like, man, we can be smart in this. You don't have to use brute force every time, which is also kind of weird to me too, because it's like, okay, all of a sudden now, instead of her being smart like she was before, now she's just being so brutal and so just like a blunt force person, like, I'm going to use brute force. And that's just kind of weird to me, because it's just like, it doesn't really play into what she was doing before. John mentioned also how she explained how her powers work directly related to how the episode played out. True. Like, if she did get some information from Loki as the episode went on, so maybe her power did work. And John also said, for example, she said that she had to dig up a memory, and all episodes she was asking about Loki's mother and how he got his power. And I mean, that was the same situation that she was doing with when she was talking with the agent, because they were sitting down just having coffee and like, hey, we're friends, right? And that's what Loki is trying to be friends with. So Loki isn't as dumb as as a TVA agent. So I mean, that could be working. That could be you might have something there. I mean, we'll find out in episode 4. But if she's going back to like the woman that they're trying to get information from, Sylvie goes up, gets blasted back, and Loki just kind of chuckles. All right, let me try my way. So he tries his own mischievous way. He loves to transform into different people. He sees that there's a picture with her and her husband, so transforms into the husband and tries to go into the house. That's him right there trying to be nice. Excuse me, ma'am. Excuse my dumb friend here from just trying to come up here. She doesn't know what she's doing. Transform into the husband. It was a great performance. He cried, "I miss you so much." And I was sitting there thinking, like, man, oh man, what if he's dead? Which I mean, but anyway, she was just like, he's not that nice, and she blasted Loki too. And it was just like, dang. But she ended up telling them like what they wanted to know, how to get to the Ark, and they had to get on this train. But when they tried to get on the train was very, very full, with people, and it's basically like the Titanic, right, where they're getting all the rich people out first, all the poor people, tough luck, go kick rocks. So Andy had to have a ticket, so I guess you had to have money to try to get on that thing. So Loki actually, I think Sylvie was just going to try to, I guess, push her way on there, brute force again. And I'm just like, what is wrong? Who is this Loki? Because the other Loki was very, very, very smart. Maybe she's just not really good with improv as much as our Loki is. So maybe that's why. Maybe that's why she went so much on just brute force at this point. I don't know, but it just feels off. It feels weird. But Loki's just like, no, I have a plan. So he transforms into one of the guards that has their outfit, and he's carrying her on as if she's a prisoner. And it almost didn't work because they still needed a ticket, but she was able to enchant one of the guards and have him, bring on board. Don't worry about the ticket. So everything is cool, and they're talking, they're sitting down, going back to what John was saying. Maybe she's trying to get information out, because then while they're on the train and they're riding over to the Ark, she's asking him about, so what was your mother like and all this other stuff. And he's he talks about his mother, and it's really nice. And he asked her about hers, and she was just like, I never really got to meet her. Like, she died before I was able to really get to know her. So I thought that was kind of sweet that Loki was able to kind of share how their mother was, and taught me all these tricks and stuff like that, and that was cool. So she was getting tired. He was like, don't worry about it. Actually told him to go to sleep. He was like, nah, you're not going to trick me into the old go to sleep so you can steal the device. So she ended up going to sleep instead. But she woke up to Loki drinking and dancing around all over the place, getting everybody to sing and dance and all this and stuff. And she was sitting there looking like, dude, what are you doing? And he was just having a good old time. And one of the guards was looking like, hey, who's this dude? Because Loki, I think he transformed into like his outside of the guard uniform and into something else. And I was just sitting there thinking like, yeah, that is kind of stupid. So long story short, they end up all attacking them, like Loki and Sylvie, and they basically ended up throwing them off the train because they were winning until Loki just kind of did whatever was being stupid. So they both got thrown out the train, found out that the device that Loki had was crumbled and crushed. And it's just like, well, that was our only chance of getting off of this planet. Now, one thing I was thinking about with this was that either that actually happened, and if that did happen, because remember, Loki is the god of mischief, so maybe this is like a way of him tricking her into thinking that the device is broken, maybe to get some more information out of her, and then later on it's just like, actually, nah, I got it, like it actually works. I just had you think that it was broken, and it wasn't really broken, just so he can get some more, and like, putting her into a corner to feeling like all hope is lost. So at this point, now I have no choice but to like just tell you whatever, since we're gonna die anyway, So I mean, and it's a good tactic if that's what he's doing. But if it actually did break because of his bad decision, then it kind of shows. I thought that was really interesting that it shows that that's why Loki never really wins as a villain, because it's just like, dude, you always you typically win initially, but then your hubris gets the best of you. You know, you get too confident, you get too cocky, you get too relaxed, and you let your guard down. And so basically, y'all were in there in the clear, but you let your guard down. Hey, let's have some drinks. Blah blah blah. I don't care. And it's just like, dude, that's how Thor beats you all the time. Remember when he turned into the dad and he had a whole play, and it was even because Thor isn't the smartest person, and it's really Loki's smarter than Thor. But even Thor, as dumb as he can be at times, he kind of figured out, it was like, you know, Dad isn't like that. Dad wouldn't throw on a play that talk about how great Loki is, and it's just like, dude, you got too comfortable, you got too relaxed, your hubris got the best of you. And that's why you keep losing in that sense, because you just let your guard down as soon as you win. So in that sense, it's just interesting seeing that. But anyway, that being said, Loki had the idea because all seemed lost. I'm like, well, why don't we just go to the Ark and just take over the Ark? Because it was like, yeah, this planet is supposed to die, but if we go there and we take over the Ark, it never had us on this planet to take over the Ark. So maybe we can commandeer that and escape the planet, escape destruction. We can live. So just like, all right, cool. That's the plan. As they're walking, he points out like, hey, you never really told me that much more about you. You know, like explain like what's up. So she finally told him how enchantment works. You know, so I go and I, you know, use my powers, and this is how I just touch their mind and whatever, yada yada yada. So I was like, okay, that's cool. It'd be cool if Loki learns how to do that later. So and then we got to the really interesting part, to where she mentioned, like when she talked about messing with the other TVA agent, she was like, how I did with her. She was like, yeah, because she had her life before the TVA, and Loki was just like, wait, whoa, she had a life before the TVA? You're like, these people don't even know about that. They think, I thought they were created by the TVA. And so Sylvia was just like, no. I mean, she had her life before then. And you know, Loki was just like, oh man, this is horrible. So they end up going to the place, and this was another weird thing. I guess as they were going to the Ark, because I guess other people were trying to get on the Ark. All of a sudden, the other agents were like trying to stop them, were trying to fight them, and you know, it was like a battle while they were fighting the not the TVA agents, but the police or whatever security around the Ark. They were trying to stop Sylvie and Loki, and it was a big kind of like somewhat of a fight scene, and then another weird thing happened where I guess a building was gonna fall, and Loki turned around and just did that, but I didn't see any effects, so that was weird because I didn't even really know what happened for a second. I think I rewinded back, and I still didn't understand what happened. I was like, did Loki do that, or did something else? Did somebody else, some other power, whatever? Because you didn't see, because Loki's thing is like he has green energy, right? When the building stopped, I didn't see that, and so that was just odd to me. I was just like, well, how do I really know that Loki did that? I'm only just guessing at this point. But that's kind of like a minor detail. It was just weird. They finally are rushing, trying to get to the Ark. They're avoiding all the security people trying to fight them, and they're avoiding all the debris from this other planet or moon running into the planet that they're on. And that's the apocalyptic event. There's two planets crushing each other and gravity being all crazy. So one of the debris hits the Ark, destroys the Ark, and at this point it's just like, dang. So all is like lost for real. So they are just sitting there looking stupid. I mean, Sylvia's just like, man, and it kind of makes Loki look like an idiot, because it's just like, dude, this is your fault. We was in the clear. You took us to this planet. I don't even know if the TVA is gonna be able to find, maybe Agent Mobius, because I mean, now this is what I'm thinking what might happen in episode 4. Either what John was saying before about maybe this is Sylvie in Loki's mind and Loki just imagined all of this, or Agent Mobius is going to be able to find them because Loki taught him how the other Loki was hiding. It was like, oh, they're hiding in apocalyptic events. So that's why you're not able to find them, because, you know, no, that doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't change anything. Like the timeline doesn't stream off. So maybe Agent Mobius comes and saves them, maybe. Or maybe Loki and Sylvia is able to pull it off some kind of way. I don't know how, but my money is on the TVA. Well, Agent Mobius coming to save them, begrudgingly, because he's pissed off at Loki. So I don't really know what happens from there. Or maybe it's what John was saying when it came to this is all in Loki's mind. This isn't really happening, and she just trying to get some information out of him. And maybe she steals the device. I don't know. We'll see. It'd be kind of messed up if there was, because that's like a whole episode kind of wasted to me. But it'd be interesting. It would be really interesting. So that all being said, what do I think about everything? So let's go into the category of acting and casting. The acting and casting was pretty good. I mean, nothing super amazing that stood out to me. I mean, they did a good job, and Loki, I mean, Tom Hiddleston does a good job as usual. It was more so a highlighting of both of them. And I felt like this was cast pretty well. I wasn't really sure about her as female Loki / Sylvie at first, but I like her. I like her. She's cool. It was an interesting dynamic with both of them being mischievous, can't trust one another. And it's just like, it's a slightly stressful because they can basically try to turn on each other every 5 seconds. And it's I don't know. It's just too much for my brain to try to process. But I give it 3 reels. I think they did a good job. It was nothing really amazing, nothing Oscar worthy or award winning per se. But overall it was cool. So I go from acting and casting to the story. What I think about the story, I think the story was fine. I think it could have been, it slowed down. I wasn't excited about this episode. It wasn't horrible though. I still think this is probably the strongest show they got so far, even though we already had WandaVision, even though we already had Falcon and Winter Soldier. I think this is the strongest show that Disney has at this moment. So that isn't taken away from the story. I just, not that much information was really revealed to me. I mean, like how her power works, maybe, I mean, it would be great if Loki actually used enchantment and could use her powers after a while, because since she taught him, in a sense, how her power works, or told him, not really taught him. But if he can use it, that'd be cool. We got to reveal that the TVA didn't really create, and it goes back to what I was saying before, when I was just like, it's weird that we have all of this TVA, and why are all of them humans? Like there's no aliens. Like that doesn't make sense. But this could be why, that the TVA agency isn't really who they are portraying themselves to be. So I think the TVA is the real villains of this episode. So we'll see. Somebody told me, oh, I think Owen Wilson is a villain. I don't think it's Owen Wilson. I mean, it could be, but that would be a bad reveal. I think it should be Judge Rayner. I mean, maybe she's like the ultimate, or she's trying to protect whatever it is that the timekeepers, or if there is actual people called the timekeepers, then whatever. But I think Judge Rayner is either in cahoots with the timekeepers. She is the main person that's trying to keep this timeline and not have any kind of chance or anything, and keep people in this life that they don't want to live, which kind of sucks. Like everything is predetermined. There's no such thing as, creating your own destiny. So I think that could be her, or maybe she's working with somebody else who is making it seem like there is a timekeepers, but it's actually somebody else. So maybe she's like in partnership with this one person. So I think it's one of those 3 things. But I mean, it's basically, it ultimately leads with the TVA isn't who we think they are. They're actually a bad organization in a sense. So those are my thoughts. But that being said, this story wasn't, I wasn't super impressed by this episode. It was a good follow-up, but I think this is probably the weaker one out of the first 2, because the first 2 is like a little bit more exciting to me. Like it kind of slowed the pacing down, but it made sense because you get to have an understanding of what she's looking for. I still don't really know what she really wants, and I think that's probably why I'm frustrated, because I was like, there wasn't that much reveal. But that being said, I give it 3 reels. So it was cool. It wasn't nothing super crazy. So I'll go from that to what I think about budget and marketing. Again, Disney, they have money. It looks good. It looked kind of weird when they were walking from when they got kicked off of the train into walking into the city where the Ark is. Because at that point, to me, it looked like, and maybe it was a filter they had on there or whatever. I'm like, man, it really looks like they're walking on a green screen. Like, I don't like that. So actually, I think because of that, I was gonna say three and a half reels, but I'm gonna give it 3 reels because I know Disney definitely, especially with the Mandalorian and stuff, they're using a lot of like green or blue screen behind them, and so a lot of the background isn't really real of what you're seeing. I mean, it looks fine, like with the Mandalorian, it looks great, but in this episode, it just looked weird when they were. It was just her, I mean, Sylvie and Loki walking. It looked weird, so I'll just give it 3 reels. Overall, what do I give this entire thing for Loki episode 3? Monkey, I need your help with this. Thank you, Monkey. All right. So with all of that being said, what's the overall rating for this episode? I give it, surprise, surprise, 3 reels. 3 reels. Loki episode 3 was cool. It wasn't amazing. It wasn't bad. It wasn't horrible. It was just cool. So it's like right down the middle. It was fine. It was a good entry. Still doing a lot more intrigue to me than WandaVision. Is definitely better than Falcon and Winter Soldier. Like, because I actually care about Loki. They did a great job of making you care about Loki. So that's what I give Loki episode 3. They did a great job, and I feel like this is definitely something. And you would think that this was like this had nothing, like almost like a what if episode. Like this has nothing to do with the rest of the MCU, but with what's unraveling, it probably does. Like this might lead into the multiverse of madness or whatever the Doctor Strange movie is. If you know what I'm talking about, type it in. But I think it'll probably lead into that. It'll also probably lead into the Eternals, which I didn't care about the trailer. The trailer was garbage to me. But I mean, because a lot of people are just like, now you're gonna wake up after Thanos slept, but maybe they're waking up because of what's happening with Loki and Sylvie. Maybe. So if that's the case, because if they didn't wake up to Thor, not Thor, but Thanos, if they didn't wake up to that and he destroyed half the universe, they're waking up to something even more dangerous than that. And dang, is this more dangerous? Like, whoa. Or maybe somebody mentioned to me the other day, maybe somebody kept them asleep. So now they're waking up and they missed all this other stuff. So I don't know. We'll see. I'm still not interested necessarily in seeing the movie, but depending on how Loki ends, the whole season is, I might be more interested in the Eternals because maybe they'll lead into the Eternals as well. Because I think that's the next movie coming up. But, well, Black Widow, but then the Eternals. So, but Black Widow was in the past, so I still don't care. I might go see the movie, but like too little, too late. So that being said, that's all I have for y'all today. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you want to contribute, if you appreciate what I do and you want to contribute and patronize my show, please feel free to patronize at anchor.fm/real review/support. Again, it's anchor.fm/real-review/support. If you just want to contribute $1, $5, $10, you can contribute either one of those. Or if you want to request a review, you can do that by offering like $1. I'll review one episode upon request. $5, I'll review whatever movie you want me to watch. It doesn't matter what movie it is. You let me know. Even if it's a movie that I probably wouldn't ever watch. You'd be like, hey, watch this movie. I'll do that. $10, I'll review a whole season of a TV show upon request. So I'm doing that for y'all. That's for y'all because I love y'all. So, whatever ideas you have, y'all got the link there. Just go there, shoot me a message, let me know, hey, I was the one that sent the $5. This is the movie you got to review. Have fun, and I'll be like, oh, you son of a gun. All right. But anyway, that being said, man, go follow me on you can find me on Apple for the podcast. I have all this stuff, or you can follow me on YouTube, Facebook. But if it's a podcast, Real Review with John F. Thomas. That's Real Review with John F. Thomas. If it's on Apple, leave a review and a rating so that people can see it. I want to get this podcast out there so that more people can see this and they can tune into my show. And you can help me out. You can support a Black business. Don't you just love doing that? The government isn't doing it, so you can do it. Let's help the government realize their horrible ways and support a Black business. Isn't that great? All right. I'll see y'all. I did all this in glorious fashion. I enjoyed it. Can't wait to see episode 4 through 6. And I have my review for that. In the meantime, in between time, I love y'all. See y'all later. Peace out.